ladies and gentlemen, moms and dads, friends and families. I am Tamara Kenny, the Dean for Institutional Planning and Quality Assurance, and it is my pleasure to be your MC for the 2020 virtual graduation ceremony. I would like to call up Dr. Alexia Cox, my esteemed colleague, the Executive Dean of Strategy and Planning, to constitute this congregation and offer a welcoming address. Dr. Alexia Cox is the Executive Dean of Academic Strategy and Planning and has obtained her doctorate from Stellenbosch University in a transdisciplinary field of human resource management and English literature. She has dedicated her corporate career to ensuring that others succeed through learning and thus in their careers. Her decision to move permanently into the tertiary education sector came from her passion to ensure that students were ready and employable for the world of work. Dr. Cox believes that education is the key to developing conscious students and future leaders. Dr. Cox has extensive international experience in both lecturing and corporate facilitation, and her passion is in developing learning strategies that meet the needs of the business and watching students flourish on their learning journey. As the Executive Dean of Strategy and Planning, she provides leadership, mentoring, and focuses on continuous improvement in all aspects of teaching and learning across all brands and in all faculties that inspire and assure lecturer and academic development, the evolution of innovation, curricula, pedagogy for both contact and distance delivery.
By the virtue of the authority entrusted to me, I constitute this assembly as an official congregation of ICESA. Thank you for that lovely introduction, and thank you for inviting me to speak today. Welcome, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, proud family, friends, and most importantly, our accomplished graduates. Welcome to your graduation day. I am very pleased to be here and to join you on this momentous occasion. You should be extremely proud of yourselves for accomplishing this goal. Congratulations. To the families of those graduating, congratulations to you too. Your support through this process has surely had a positive impact. I'm sure you're very proud of your graduate as they close this step in their lives and prepare for their next steps. I know you must all be excited to see your name pop up on the screen. But as cartoonist Gary Trudeau said, graduation speeches were invented largely in the belief that graduating students should never be released into the world until they have been properly put to sleep in a graduation ceremony. End quote. I promise I will try not put you to sleep. Normally, I'd start a graduation speech talking about the great responsibilities that now lie in the wake of your future and provide you with pertinent advice about how to make it in the real world. However, it seems pointless and irrelevant to me to do so, as we find ourselves center stage in one of the universe's great life lessons, the COVID-19 pandemic. I have no doubt that during your last year of studies, each and every one of you have learned some hard life lessons. While we may look back over the past year and wish we could rewrite them, it's important to remember the wise words of C.S. Lewis, when he said, and I quote, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." End quote. While I could talk to you at length about the challenges and the struggles you have faced, I choose to ask you this question. What has the pandemic not taught you? As I address you, I will focus on the positive and important life lessons and skills you have gained during these unprecedented times. Firstly, I know that you are graduating as a confident, resilient, tenacious, and adaptable individual. I am a firm believer that education is the key to unlocking the door of opportunity, and am confident to say that you now have the knowledge to succeed regardless of your personal circumstance. You have learned the importance of being accountable and responsible. you've realized that time management is the key to being productive. And you know now that the art of delivering results lies in your tenacity and determination. Secondly, COVID lockdown has taught you to be an imaginative problem solver. I am sure you've had to think of some really creative and out-of-the-box ideas and come up with solutions and ideas in both your academic and personal life. It may have felt challenging at times, and it may have been heartbreaking, but your imaginative problem-solving skills have given you a deeper understanding of your place and experience in the world, whether it's in your academic, work, or personal life. Please continue to hold on to your curiosity and inquisitiveness about the world and about others, and appreciate the different cultures, beliefs, and views that make us truly human. Thirdly, you are now a fully fledged digital citizen. Congratulations. You now have the knowledge and skills to effectively use digital technologies to communicate with others, participate in society, and create and consume digital content. Yet, however digitally savvy you are now, you need to continue to build these specific skills in order to participate in building South Africa's future. Your digital citizenship will no doubt open global doors for you. As you enter the workplace, you will be exposed to different values. You will engage with different societies. You'll gain an awareness of sustainability, and you'll learn to respect cross-cultural dynamics and the appreciation of others. So, have the courage to explore the ever-expanding digital world as you play an important role in preparing the next generations to be the ones who will deliver an improved version of a digital government and democracy. I would now like to take this opportunity to speak to you from the heart and provide you with some words of wisdom. As you graduate today, do not ever forget that you have achieved and succeeded in obtaining your qualification during a fully fledged pandemic, the first global pandemic in 100 years. I have the utmost respect for each and every one of you. But you need to remember something. Your life will be full of successes on different scales. Interestingly, we often associate success with what we've done, collected, or created. Often it's high-flying careers, million-rand bank accounts that leave this glaring impression. But remember, success is in the eye of the beholder. You will need to decide what success means for you. What does it look like in terms of your career, your health, your family, and your friends? I have learned that those who stop judging themselves according to other people's definitions and standards of success hold a passion, drive, and happiness which guides them through their careers, their families, and their lives. Dream big. Don't ever let small minds of others convince you that your dreams are too big. Rely on your confidence and self-belief to make your dreams come true, and let humbleness guide you in your learning. In the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, she said, "In the long run, we shape our lives and we shape ourselves. The process never ends until we die, and the choices we make are ultimately our own responsibility." End quote. So, be humble. Learn from your experiences, because no one can ever know everything. Humility and integrity allow you to see the world from a different perspective, where you are able to change your opinion and learn from your experiences and mistakes. As I end this speech, I want to congratulate each and every single one of you on this momentous occasion. And I encourage you to go out, take chances, make mistakes, and grow to be the person you are destined to be. Once again, congratulations and all the best on your next adventure.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. Your words ring true for all our graduates tonight. It is our honor and great pleasure to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Joe Samuels. Mr. Samuels was appointed as the Chief Executive Officer for the South African Qualifications Authority as from the 1st of March 2012 and recently retired. He holds a BSc Honours and a Master of Philosophy from the University of the Western Cape, South Africa. He is a specialist in educational policy and education change, qualifications frameworks, standard setting, quality assurance, and adult and community education. He worked in a medical laboratory as a teacher, a physiology lecturer, and as a coordinator for continuing education programs at the Centre for Adult Continuing Education at the University of the Western Cape for 10 years prior to joining SAQA. He was the Director for Standard Setting and Development before he was promoted to the position of Deputy Executive Officer, which he held for 7 years before his next promotion to the CEO position. He has worked at SAQA for the last 19 years. Joe organized and participated in many national and international seminars and conferences where he developed various papers covering topics like the role of national qualifications frameworks, the generation of qualifications and standards, quality assurance within education and training, the integration of education and training, human rights, and the NQF and NQFs in the SADC region, on the South African continent and globally. He served as the chairperson of the UNESCO drafting team of the Addis Convention, a document on the recognition of foreign qualifications that allows for the movement of learners, academics, and workers across borders, that was adopted by 54 African states in December 2014. He has served as an expert on the UNESCO panel of experts for the development of the Global Convention of the Recognition of Qualifications for Higher Education and for Level Descriptors. Joe serves on the Council of the Council on Higher Education, the Quality Council for Trades and Occupation, the Quality Council for General and Further Education, National Skills Authority, and the Board of SAQA.
I would like to thank EduCorps for asking me to do this graduation speech today. The theme of this speech is an extraordinary time that needs us to do ordinary things really well. But first, let me congratulate everyone who has achieved a certificate, a high certificate, a diploma, high diploma, or a degree. And I think it's quite important that we do celebrate our achievements. At the best of times, it's good that we celebrate our achievements because we've worked hard to achieve that. But in particular, this class of 2020 must celebrate their achievements, given the extraordinary times that we're living in. It is quite important for that because not only is it that we have worked hard, but also everyone that has made this year such an important and successful year. If we think about it, with the face-to-face interaction that has stopped, it meant that the staff, the academic staff, the administrative staff, and the institution had to make sure that all the graduates received tuition, and in fact, that you were able to complete the year, given the fact that there was both remote online learning as well as face-to-face learning. And I think the term that has been used is, it is blended learning. It's also important to celebrate because not only is it that we have achieved what we have achieved, but it's also our parents. And we must never forget that the pandemic has taught us that the essential workers, those people that do things like cleaning the surfaces, making sure that people are fed, and so on. All of those people should be celebrated in the achievements, that we have had. One would also expect that during this extraordinary times that the achievement rate would have dropped, but I am informed that you have done remarkably well, and that 79% of people who participated in the assessments, have actually passed. So congratulations to you, the class of 2020. Given your ages, that this is also a period of moving from being a young adult to be, into a more mature adult. And of course, so this is a kind of passage that we are going through and that you are going through. That also raises quite a lot of issues and challenges, that you are faced with. And again, we should make sure that we celebrate, that you're also going through, these kind of difficult times. But let me also say that the pandemics, or the history of pandemics in the world, have actually taught us that humans are very resilient, and in fact societies have bounced back in many, many cases and over many, many years, because epidemics and pandemics are not things that just comes once in a million years, but in fact human beings have been able to live with this pandemic. And what is even more, if one thinks about the situation that we find ourselves in now, and we compare it to the Spanish flu, for example, that the Spanish flu, people after a year didn't even know what it is that hit them. In the case of the coronavirus, we've already, as humanity, have been able to work out what is the genetic makeup of this virus. And what is even more fascinating and fantastic is that we have developed the vaccines to counter, this particular virus. In South Africa, we have been fantastic in the sense that we've been able to work out that there was a variant, and various other variants have also been identified. And so the key challenges that is facing us now is really the rollout of the vaccine. We know, in fact, that there might be some people that are scared to be vaccinated, but the key thing for us, in order for us to return to normality, is that we actually need to make sure that we do get the vaccine, and that we encourage other people to get the vaccine so that we can reach some form of normality. We also know that the kind of normality that we will have, the new normality, is that we will not go back to where we were before. So let us speak a little bit about the challenges that we are faced with in South Africa. One of the biggest challenges that we do have is this a matter of inequality, where we have very rich and very poor people in the country. The second issue that we're faced with is obviously poverty. And I think something that is on your mind is this question about unemployment. We do have an unemployment rate, depending on who you speak to, of something like 42% in the country. And as young graduates, what you are looking forward to is to say, how is it that you'll be able to find employment? Now, there are two approaches broadly when it comes to that. One is one can either wait and see what employment is being offered, but I'm sure that you have been taught here at EduCore that what you need to do, in fact, is to become entrepreneurial and to see whether it's possible to be able to create opportunities for yourselves. And in fact, there are many, many opportunities. And in fact, what I want to say is that the opportunities are there, and it's quite important for people to take that, when it comes along. At the same time, we also need to create opportunities for ourselves. What are some of the current advantages that you as the current generation have? You have got extraordinary opportunities because we are living in a world where just by looking at what is in the palm of your hand, or in fact in your smartphone, there is such a lot of information available. So that when I grew up, for example, we were not the internet and the social media generation like you are. And through that, the sharing of knowledge, the information that's available, there is such a lot of opportunities that, that is certainly there. So I do think that, we and you are living in an environment where, in fact, there are quite a lot of information already, at your disposal. And in fact, I would like to encourage you, to use that, as it were. I also would like to, give you a few bits of advice that certainly helped me, and in fact, is helping quite a number of other people as well. The first bit of advice that I think is quite important is, in the South African context, we have just heard that one of the key things that we should be focusing on is that we need to have structures and institutions in our country that work. So, for example, in countries where governments works efficiently and effectively, they were able to keep the numbers, that were infected with the coronavirus very, very low. Those countries where governments have been dysfunctional, you would actually see that they were unable to keep the numbers down and the death rates down and so on. So one of the key things that we must be able to strive towards is to have an efficient and effective working government, but not only that, but also efficient and effective working private sector. So, and then one of the biggest problems that we do have in South Africa, apart from efficiency and effectiveness, is also we must have an ethical state and we must have ethical companies. And so if we just do those very basic things like act in an ethical way, take very seriously what you have learned, and do your work in a competent manner, we will be able to deal with all the big problems, as it were, that we are faced with. One of the other challenges that we do have is that with the social media that we do have, some people call this that we have alternative facts. And so we can set up and through our circle of friends make videos, clips, and all of those kinds of stuff to refute, ideas that the to refute the idea. Sorry, let me check it again. We can set up a circle of friends to refute the ideas that COVID-19 is simply a hoax, so that we do get the right information, both to our friends, and that we can set up online communities to promote the truth. We should also promote democracy, because in South Africa it is quite important that we do promote democracy. It is not only in South Africa, but it's also something that is quite important across the world, because there is a huge debate happening in the world about autocratic forms of government as well as democratic forms of government. Now, a lot of scientists have done incredibly important work to try to understand what works best for humanity. And what they have come up with is they have actually said that you have two types of communities. The one is a very rule-based community that really understands the rules and work according to those rules. There are also communities where things are a lot looser, and these people question and pushes the boundaries in terms of rule making, as it were. Now, what was interesting, what they found, is that at the beginning with the pandemic, that the rule-based communities, very few people, or fewer in relation to people were infected, and also fewer people had passed away. However, in those countries where they pushed the rules that is much more loose, as it were, there are many more deaths, and many more people were infected. However, what was also came out of the study that was done is that now with the vaccine being developed and the rollout of those vaccines, we actually see that more and more, that those societies are more successful. So in other words, it is not a matter of that the one is definitely wrong and the other one is definitely right, but in fact that we need to have both kinds of very tight following communities. On the other hand, you also have those that can be creative and make sure that in actual fact innovation happens. So in other words, that we need as human beings to find the right balance between how we want to move forward. So in other words, the point for me is that we actually need to make sure that as humans, that we find the kind of balance between at what point is it that we should be listening and following the rules, and at what point should be able to push the boundaries and develop innovative ways of dealing with our context. So by doing very simple things and doing simple things on a day-to-day basis, we can really change the world. So for example, to promote democracy, we actually need to elect good people that will be able to meet the needs of ordinary people. Elect people that are not corrupt, and we can do it. You can do it. As this generation moving forward. With the knowledge that we have, with the competence that we have, we can build companies that pay good salaries to workers and not starvation wages. As IT professionals, we can innovate, build good programs and networks. In particular, IT professionals are needed for this fourth industrial revolution. But it's not only that we need people in the sciences to take us forward. We need critical thinkers. We need people in the humanities that are able to question what is happening and not just follow the rules, as I said before. People who have studied public administration should just be good public servants, remembering to provide a caring, efficient, effective, and ethical service to the public. We've got a beautiful country, and for those who have studied travel and tourism, to go out and to show both South Africans as well as international tourists our beautiful country, but do it in such a way that people would like to come back to see more. Our children is our future, and all those people who have studied early childhood development should keep our children safe, should teach them to be innovative through play and a whole host of other very stimulating things that they should be doing. The accounting professionals should count properly and not be misled to do creative accounting. Journalism is such a very important profession and should keep on shining light on what people want to hide, because transparency is so vital, for our democracy. A very good example of a person who passed away recently due to COVID is Karima Brown, who ran this very interesting television program called The Fix. And she held, these high-level politicians and high-level officials accountable. And I think that journalism should follow that kind of tradition so that we can have a better society. Many people have studied business, and they are business graduates here today. It is quite important that we have business people who are ethical and innovative and build businesses with social purpose. So go out and create jobs. Don't wait for people to give you jobs. And even if you fail 1,000 times, it only teaches you to improve and to do better the next time. I have lots of faith in young people in South Africa today. Because it is through young people in 1976, in the 1980s and 1990s, that change happened in the country. Young people today are in a unique situation to bring about change, given the big issues that we are faced with. And I've pointed out that by doing the little things, by listening to each other, by caring for each other, that you will be able to do extraordinary things by just focusing on those simple day-to-day things. We must hope for a better future. Hope is important when things are at its darkest. Hope is not a lottery ticket. It is not blind faith in that this will get better. Hope is the belief that things will get better through hard, smart, and persistent work. In conclusion then, once again, congratulations to all the people who have graduated. Congratulations to the staff and to the institutions. Celebrate your achievements. You truly deserve it. Go out and do the ordinary things with joy and conviction. This will make South Africa and the world a better place. Thank you very much.
Dr. Mariki Pienaar is currently the Dean of Academic Operations at EduCorps. She leads EduCorps's academic operations and is responsible for providing overall leadership, monitoring, and process management. She has over 32 years of experience working at all levels of public and private education. She has been a teacher, lecturer, head of department, and academic director. Her academic background includes a BCom education, a Bachelor of Education, a Master of Education, and a PhD in Teaching and Learning. She is a person who is positive about every aspect of her life and lives by the words by Virat Kohli, self-belief and hard work will always earn you success.
ICESA are committed to provide students with the best educational resources and training so that students can get their career off to a flying start. ICESA are committed to academic excellence who delivers digital, enhanced, innovative and relevant programs.
By the virtue of the authority entrusted to ICESA by the Higher Education Act 101 of 1997 and by the Council on Higher Education, I award certificates, diplomas, and confer the degrees of ICESA to candidates whose names appear in the program. I will now request the Dean of Institutional Planning and Quality Assurance and the Dean of Academic Operations to present the candidates.
As the Dean for Institutional Planning and Quality Assurance, I will now have the names of the candidates for the Diploma in Accounting presented. As the Dean for Institutional Planning and Quality Assurance, I will now have the names of the candidates for the Diploma in Business Management presented.
As the Dean of Academic Operations, I will now have the names of candidates for the Diploma in Human Resource Management presented. As the Dean of Academic Operations, I will now have the names of candidates for the Diploma in Information Technology presented.
As the Dean for Institutional Planning and Quality Assurance, I will now have the names of the candidates for the Diploma in Journalism presented.
As the Dean of Academic Operations, I will now have the names of candidates for the Diploma in Marketing Management presented.
As the Dean for Institutional Planning and Quality Assurance, I will now have the names of the candidates for the Diploma in Public Management and Administration presented. As the Dean for Institutional Planning and Quality Assurance, I will now have the names of the candidates for the Diploma in Public Relations presented.
As the Dean of Academic Operations, I will now have the names of candidates for the Diploma in Travel and Tourism presented.
By the virtue of the authority entrusted to me, I dissolve this assembly of ICESA.
Usisileleni Afrika, malupawa Yesu pondonayo, Kiswahili tanazo yetu, Usisilelena China, lusapolwayo, Lulela buluka sichama sa Yesu, Feliz en el